Hey guys, Avilo here, bringing you another video. Bringing you another fucking video. God, these videos and the way the StarCraft 2 community is just makes me roll my eyes. But as usual, here we go. I'm laughing thinking about it, but as usual. Here we go, guys. So, as you guys know, my tournament is getting a lot of hype. A lot of people are really excited to see what happens on the tournament, which is great. And it's getting... So, the tournament is going to be happening this weekend, the Avilo Balance Mod Tournament. And you guys know, ever since I said I was going to do this tournament, there's been one Salt Lord out there, one jealous, irrelevant Salt Lord that apparently doesn't like that I'm trying to get changes to the game for the StarCraft 2 community. And there's a very specific Salt Lord out there that is being very petty, it looks like, and trying to go out. I mean, I'm just going to go through this timeline of... once again, I'm just laughing because it's these people act like little children. They are apparently unhappy that I'm the guy that initially decided to actually take action in the StarCraft 2 community, because for the longest time it's just talk, talk, talk. Everybody, all we do is talk. Let's be honest, for the last couple of years we expect Blizzard to actually like pick up the slack and do stuff for the game. But they really, honestly, in terms of multiplayer balance, they're not getting the job done. Like that's just the reality of the situation. That's the whole point, guys. For this balanced mod tournament, the whole point is it may not necessarily be perfectly balanced. I actually think it will be near. It'll be 99% balanced. There's probably going to be some outlier things. First of all, let me discuss my mod. Let me discuss the idea where this came from. Once again, everything I just said, the game hasn't received many impactful changes for years. It's always tiny changes that affect nothing or break the game, such as Adepts and Swarmhouse. Mech has not been viable for years. So, a month, 2-3 months ago, even before me getting donations for DreamHack and for this tournament, even before then, I already had it in my mind that eventually I wanted to take this into my own hands and do some type of mod, get somebody to help me code these into the map editor, which, by the way, guys, huge shout out to fucking Dark Blizzard, aka Deathbringer, aka the guy that helped code this. He is the guy that, he has a custom game called Ghost Finder and Reinforcements Delay that are really good custom games, and from knowing him, he's the guy that helped code this in the editor, so huge props to him. Without this wouldn't even be possible. So he's literally, you know, literally saving esports along with me, guys. But basically, this idea I've had in my head for a long time. It's not just like I suddenly came out of nowhere with it. Like, the community needs to be shown. It needs to be led by leaders like myself in the community. It needs to be led and shown that changes can happen to the game. It's all been talk. It's all been talk, talk, talk. So, coming out with this tournament, me coming up with these changes, I had two main goals in mind. Well, a couple of goals. The first goal is to prove to the community and Blizzard that changes can be made to the game, period, that will impact the game without breaking the game balance. And I hope that my tournament will show that. I hope that it'll show, you know, Zerg, Protoss, and Terran. I think all races are going to do well during the tournament, to be honest. People are knee-jerk reacting because they don't understand the changes. But in terms of gameplay, this mod has, I would say, two main goals. There's two specific goals. All of my changes are tailored very precisely to two specific goals. The first goal is reducing the viability of mass air units. I don't even know why my webcam isn't full screen right now. Sorry, guys. But anyways, deal with it. So the main goals are reducing the viability of mass air to promote mass ground trading action gameplay. That's the first goal. And along with that, the second goal of this mod, the very specific goal, is making mech have an anti-air unit available from the factory that won't imbalance mech in some other way, shape, or form. So those are my two main goals for the mod. All of the changes are directed towards toning down air units across all three races, toning up ground anti-air. You'll notice things like the Hydralisk cost being reduced is something to try and address that a little bit. And then, the second one is making mech viable, something that Blizzard has gotten wrong time after time after time again, that someone like me that's played mech for years can get right on the first try. So those are the two main goals. The goal is not perfect balance. The problem with Blizzard balancing multiplayer is they want perfect balance right away, and that's not possible. That's honestly not possible, and that's honestly too much to ask for anybody, even of the fabled David Kim that doesn't even do stuff for the balance team supposedly anymore. It's impossible. The problem is, if no changes are made at all, you're never going to get a better game. And so this mod, some things on the on the outline scale may be too underpowered or too overpowered, but the goal is to make changes that will impact the game to satisfy those two design directions that I have. Those very two pinpointed things: making air weaker and making mech viable for Terran. There could be more changes and things down the line that I come up with to try and tweak those and iterate upon those, but if you're not willing to make the changes in the first place, you can't iterate upon something if you're not going to make the changes in the first place. And it's very clear for the past couple years, Blizzard is unwilling to make changes that will do these things to help the game out, because they're afraid maybe of what will happen to the balance. But the thing is, you have to be willing to make the change in the first place. So that's what the mod is designed to do. I'll go through the mod changes as well, but that's not all this video is about. This video is about, as well, people's reaction to this in the community is a little bit disgusting to me. So first of all, as everybody knows, and I have already made a YouTube video about this again, but we're going to cover it really quickly. During the time that before DreamHack Austin, I set a donation goal on my Twitch stream, because I'm a Twitch streamer, that's my job. Part of my income are donations and subscriptions. That's part of and advertisement revenue, I suppose, if I play ads, but I don't, so I barely have any of that. But my income as a Twitch streamer is from donations and subscription revenue. And so I made a donation goal, very transparently, specifically stating, if we reach this goal, I will use the money to go to DreamHack. This is the goal I have personally set for my Twitch stream that I feel will justify me essentially spending however much money to travel to DreamHack, hotel, all the stuff, because I'm not sponsored by anybody, so it's out of my own pocket, guys. So that I set a very high goal to go there, and I very specifically stated and said many times, if we reach the goal, I will go to DreamHack. And I appreciate the donations, but these are my Twitch stream donations. This is how I make my money, from Twitch streaming. This is nothing new to anybody. Twitch streaming is not new, guys. It's been around for years. Like, Twitch streamers make money from donations and subscriptions. That's just the way it works. And I was very transparent over the 20, 30, 40 days, however long it was around 30 days, that people were donating to my stream, but also to try and get to reach the goal to send me to DreamHack. I was very transparent saying, and people asked me many times during the course, are you going to go to DreamHack? And I've answered them very solidly, if we meet the goal, I will go. If not, I will use some of the donation money that I've earned during the last 30 days that I set this goal to host a tournament and put back some of my own Twitch earnings into a community tournament. So that's where all this came from. That's where the idea, the impetus for the idea came from. There's people that keep slandering me on Team Liquid and Reddit, and this is the stuff that people sue for. I'm not saying that I'm going to sue anybody for it, but this is the stuff that people people can get sued for saying this stuff and saying shit that's not true. There was already a thread on Team Liquid that was closed because there's like a very minority of people that hate me and are trying to get anything negative said about me because they don't like me personally. So they're slandering my name, saying that I scammed money that I earned as a Twitch streamer from donations. No, that's not how this works. Donations and people that subscribe. What's next? You're gonna say that people subscribe to my stream, I scam people because I got subscribers? And I'm using some of my subscriber income to fund a tournament? No, this is slander and it's bullshit, and the StarCraft 2 community needs to not allow this shit. And so that's why I'm going to go through this timeline of bullshit, because there's even a pro player from Team Liquid that was even trying to start this slander against me out of jealousy, out of very obvious jealousy and irrelevancy, trying to get some relevance, because apparently he's mad that I started this initiative of my own doing. I started this. So as I go through this, you're going to see what a scumbag this guy is. But I started this because of my own initiative, my own passion for the community. I mentioned in one of the posts on Team Liquid that I hope people realize $500 is a lot of money, and putting that back into the StarCraft 2 community in the current climate for the viewers that StarCraft 2 gets as a game, it's basically like fucking burning cash. Like, I could just basically burn $500 live on stream. That's essentially what the investment that I'm making to host this tournament in the current climate in terms of viewership that StarCraft 2 gets. But like many of you guys that watch, I'm very passionate about the game. I love the game. I want the game to grow again. That's what all of this is about. It's me trying to help the community get out of its funk and realize, and hopefully the community will band together eventually and realize, wow, this tournament that avilo made really shows that games can be quite fucking awesome without having some bullshit, like, changes. Blizzard could be making these changes to the game. Why aren't they doing it? So hopefully, in the end, that's what people will take from this. They'll realize, wow, these big changes actually made the game so much better. Let's hope that Blizzard sees this and works with people like avilo and people in the community, or takes the example and realizes they can make StarCraft 2 great again. They can make it grow again if they're willing to make changes, whether or not they're the correct changes, but willing to make them and then iterate upon them further. And I honestly think that's what the game needs. But apparently there's a lot of people in the StarCraft 2 community that, because they hate me or my persona on stream or stuff about me, are unwilling to look past that. The fact that I'm willing to make this tournament and put all this effort and hard work into it, and it's honestly disgusting. I know it's not everybody. I know that it's the negative people that are the loudest, and a lot of you guys in the StarCraft 2 community understand what I'm doing is a good thing. But yeah, although it gets a little bit weirder, because like I said, this guy is such a, like, you can see the true colors of people. So once again, so I'm gonna show this on stream. Let me get the let me get my, what's it called, up on stream here. My Firefox. Hopefully I can get this on stream. Hopefully this will show up on stream. Oh, that's my monitor capture. Hopefully I can get this to show up on stream. Let me, or not on stream, on this YouTube video, sorry. My bad. One second, guys. Let me make another scene here. And hopefully we can get this up. I actually don't know. This is, it's actually not displaying right now. Wow, I hope, we got some technical difficulties in this YouTube video, apparently. My god. Oh my god. Well, apparently, guys, OBS might be a little bit broken here. I'll go ahead and do monitor capture so you guys can, hopefully we can get this up here. I'll just go ahead and do this. So we'll go full try hard, we'll go monitor capture for this video. Bear with me. Anyways, we're gonna go through this. So, a couple months ago, guys, I'll just edit that part out. My bad, technical difficulties. So this is from, not a couple months ago, this is from May 4th. So, pretty much at the start of this month here. And, you know, this is a balance update from Blizzard. You could see they went back on the Thor change. They decided that they're not going to actually buff the anti-air. They just, you know, as usual, go back on changes. A Tempest change that's actually pretty bad and irrelevant, and that's all. That was the balance patch after like 8 months. Nothing to Swarm Host, nothing to anything meaningful. So I posted, you know, a huge thing here about all the problems with the game, you know, mech anti-air, Swarm Host, mentioning how Riot balances, you know, I'm a very passionate person when it comes to this stuff, and we all see that Blizzard's they're not handling the multiplayer balance well at all. And so I mentioned a couple changes here, like the Swarm House and Viking change that I had planned for my mod. And, you know, that's all good and whatnot. That's all great. People left some comments. And then we get a couple pages into the thread. So this is where the Salt Lord, a couple pages into this thread is where Mr. Salt Lord comes in, guys. And this, like, I honestly, it's tough to really understand. Like, honestly, it just feels like jealousy to me at this point. But we'll go ahead and it's petty jealousy, essentially. And so we see Mr. Liquid TLO here. Let's see how he responds to, you know, my posts and ideas. Hard to take someone seriously who scams his viewers for money, takes donations, that doesn't show up. You don't have the best interest of anyone in mind but yourself. You're a disgrace that honestly should be banned from TL and Twitch. Keep in mind, this is a pro player from Team Liquid. I fucking love Team Liquid as a site. But, like, what is that? Who advised him this would be a good idea to post? I don't know. Probably no one. I don't quite understand. Once again, this is a TL member that's basically fucking slandering me, as I mentioned earlier. You know, it's fine if it's just like some random dude that's trying to slander me, because it's all untrue, as I mentioned earlier. But then when I have more people try and jump on the dog pile and spread bullshit and lies. So we have TLO basically just straight up slandering me here. And he doesn't even read the changes or offer anything. And you know, if we go to Twitter here, he actually ended up getting me temporarily banned at some point in this thread. Let's go to the next page in this thread here. So I probably made, like, once again, he posts his suggestions aren't solutions, just buffing his niche playstyle. And then, once again, it's all about me. Like, he has some vendetta against me, or he's jealous that I decided to post stuff about the gameplay, and that I'm willing to try and make something happen and do something and create discussion about it. And then he got me temp banned. Luckily, somebody unbanned me, because I think they realized how bad it was making TLO look. And once again, you know, this post is just me mentioning all the stuff about, you know, it's my Twitch stuff. I mentioned, like, hey, like, you know, like, why, essentially. And yeah, I mean, it's just actually crazy. Like, it's just actual craziness. And, honestly, I think he did get me temp banned. because he only started replying to this thread after I got banned, and then that's why we had this whole Twitter debacle. I was like pretty pissed off that I apparently got banned for doing nothing wrong, but like I said, luckily someone unbanned me. Anyways, there's a whole back and forth on Twitter talking about balance, which essentially boiled, you guys can check out the tweets yourself, but essentially all of this boiled down to TLO doesn't like mech in the end, or he doesn't think it should be in the game, essentially. Or he doesn't think that the game can be patched like that it's not worth pursuing. I think at the end he basically said, you know, it's not worth even trying. So he basically just, at some point throughout this Twitter convo, he basically just said to give up or whatever. If we go to this, I said, he basically said it's a lost cause to try and balance the game or do anything with it. And, you know, I said, no, it's not a lost cause. That's why, you know, if you want to play in my tournament and see the changes, you'll see it's not a lost cause. Like, basically, these people are just, you know, pessimistic. So, let's go. So, after all that back and forth, like that, and that was a pretty civil back and forth on Twitter between him. Let's fast forward to, what's today? 25th? Let's fast forward to May 23rd. So this is like 20 days later. I finally announced my tournament. I finally, you know, the sign up, I actually release what the changes are, you know, everything about the area units, mech, blah, 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 blah. Great, great, great. You know, $500 tournament. I think it's a good thing for the community. This is the first ever tournament that has been done like this in the history of SE2, run on an extension mod. It's the first ever tournament of its kind. No one has been willing to do this in the past. So we're literally making history here. I think it's a good thing. And then let's go down. Interestingly enough, we have this guy here, this SE2 Toasty guy, people just shitting on the ideas and all this random stuff. And then here we go again. Liquid TLO. These are without a doubt the worst balance changes I've seen in my life. And then he starts slandering me again, questioning what the prize pool is. I don't understand. What is wrong with this guy? Why does he have some personal vendetta? It can only be jealousy or the fact that, like, he sees that I'm leading the community, trying to do something for the community, and he's jealous, apparently. Like, if he wanted to be a leader in the community, he should have been doing this stuff in the fucking first place, or someone else should have been. I decided to take it upon myself to get something done and show that it can be done. And he's being an assault lord because it's avilo, and then he's trying to bring people to bring me down too, essentially. He's trying to get the hate wagon on me for no reason. So, I mean, throughout this thread, there's more and more bullshit and craziness. And once again, guys, I actually announced my tournament on I posted on Reddit, I posted on Team Liquid. You can see, you know, it actually has a lot of upvotes, which is rare for something that I do, because usually I get downvoted no matter what the fuck I post on Reddit. Doesn't matter if I'm kissing a little puppy or something, I'll still get downvotes. Like, but we got a good amount of exposure for this. People, regardless of whether they hate me, I think a lot of people like the idea and the initiative, which is great because we need more of that. Of course, there's a lot of salt lords out there and people that just don't like it because it's avilo doing it. Because it's me trying to do something good for the community, they can't possibly fathom that I would do that. So we have stuff like this from Total Biscuit. Oh, geez, you gave avilo $3,000? Is this what happens when Kings goes on break? I'll just announce my tournament now. Calm down. So once again, we have even other big names in the community trying to blatantly slander me. This is fucking bullshit. This Total Biscuit has no fucking clue about fucking Twitch streaming and donation money and all the shit that I mentioned. Once again, these people are blatantly... Why is it okay for people to blatantly slander others in the StarCraft 2 community? This is something new to me. Apparently these guys are allowed to slander me for no fucking reason. And like people are letting them get away with it and not calling them out on this shit. Imagine if it was the other way around and I just started tweeting and posting and saying, you guys are scamming the community because you're getting donations on your Twitch stream. Can you imagine? You know, I'd be instantly banned from Team Liquid. People, they'd fucking delete my comments, delete the post from the subreddit. But we have people like this that are well-known figures in the community, basically just being scumbags and jackasses and slandering my name. It's sad enough that these guys are slandering me for no reason. Repeatedly. I thought TLO was done slandering me 20 or 30 days ago. I thought that was gonna be done. No more fucking slandering me here. But now we have Total Biscuit trying to slander me too in this thread, as well as low key trying to take the hype away from my tournament. Like, what is wrong with the StarCraft 2 community that you have to be like this? People are unhappy. They don't personally like me and they have a vendetta against me, so they're trying to make my tournament less or something. No, we should all be promoting each other's tournaments. Honestly, we should all be promoting each other's shit. Like, this stuff gets so old. Anyways, fast forward to today, and let's see here. Liquid TLO has made we see this thread. In the wake of another mod, TLO has offered his response with his own mod. Well, what is this? Okay, well, clearly this is going to be something. So, this salty, jealous guy that has continuously slandered me is now making his own mod to try and what is that? I don't understand what this is. He's jealous and mad that I made my own tournament, that I'm trying to do something for the community. So now he's being petty and doing this shit. And the hilarious thing about it is, we're gonna go. I mean, it's just idiocy. We're gonna go through this. But guys, you remember in these posts where TLO was slandering me earlier? Let's go back to the post here. Let's go back to the first thread where TLO decides that he wants to just randomly start slandering me. I mean, this shit is stupid, but I want to go through the timeline of this stuff so people understand how these people are. Because there's no other way, honestly, to defend myself. I shouldn't even have to. This shouldn't even be happening, but these guys are scumbags. So, sorry, if we go to, let's see here. And once again, you can see he responds in this post, mech is the niche and bio the standard. Just how the game developed. Making mech as valid as bio isn't anything most people desire. So he clearly doesn't want mech to be viable. That's clearly his stance. But I mean, my god, anyways, you guys remember the post where he apparently doesn't like my, he's not too fond of my balance changes, right? TLO post right here. These are without a doubt the worst balance changes I've seen in my life. And then once again, the slandering, this is the post I just showed you earlier. So he thinks that the balance changes in the direction of my mod are terrible, right? So these are without a doubt the worst balance changes ever. And once again, you guys know the direction, and the whole point is to tone down air and make mech viable. Those are the key things. So TLO explicitly says he thinks they're the worst changes he's seen in his life. So now he's making his own mod. What changes could possibly be on the mod? This salty, jealous guy who's trying to pettily make his own mod now. Let's see what his changes are. Let's Broodlord increase supply cost. Warp Prism nerfed. Tempest increase supply cost. Carrier increase supply cost. Battlecruiser increase supply cost. Raven increase supply cost. Liberator increase supply cost. Even a change to Vikings. This is the mod he just released. Look, he just said that the changes I came up with are the worst balance changes he's seen in his life. Did he not literally just plagiarize like many of the changes that I came up with and designed for this mod? Broodlord supply increase. Viking changes. Raven supply increase. BC supply increase. Liberator supply increase. I increased the supply of Broodlords as well. And then Protoss, Warp Prism nerf, Tempest nerf and supply increase. Carrier supply increase. What is wrong with this guy? Honestly. So, from 20 days ago, him slandering me, he wants to talk shit about this, then he says I'm making the worst changes ever, and he literally just essentially plagiarizes a large amount of the changes that I came up with, saying that he's going to make his own mod. The goal he hopes to achieve with these changes, I think most people agree mass airplay usually leads to boring games. So he's toning down air. This is the type of person this guy is. Honestly, I'm kind of disgusted by it. It's even more disgusting are the people that are haters of mine. Once again, if we go through some posts, you'll see some posts like people saying, "Wow, these are great patch notes." There's even this what's it called? This SC toaster guy that keeps trolling all my threads. I want to find his post because I think it's hilarious. Anyways, you get the point. There's people that are literally saying in TLO's thread of him literally plagiarizing half these changes. People are saying, "Wow, these are great changes," because TLO took them from my mod. But in my thread, they for essentially the same exact changes, they're saying these are fucking shit changes. You're shit. Stop trying to make a mod. This is the way the community is, and it's honestly disgusting. It's you guys see, and you guys honestly see how disgusting this guy is. That once again, you saw back from May 4th, he's slandering me. Total Biscuit is slandering me, and I'm trying to do a community tournament. I'm trying to be the leader here, get this done, and this guy is trying to TLO is basically trying to leech off of me, and because he's salty that it was Avilo getting the attention for it or whatever. I honestly don't fucking care about the attention. I want the game to be patched and the game to be better. So yeah, this is all pretty petty. It's all pretty ridiculous. I think it's hilarious that his mod is basically just a carbon copy of the air changes. I think it's ridiculous that this guy in one post says these are the worst changes I've ever seen, and then at the very next day or two, he literally is copying those changes and making his own mod. These people are fucking scum, and they should be. I'm making this video to expose. It's not just TLO that's being like this. There's a lot of other people in the community that keep slandering me and that are acting like this when I'm trying to do something good for the community with this tournament. So, anyways, I'm not going to let all this negative bullshit and the way people act in the community bring me down. I'm really positive for this tournament. Creating a lot of discussion in the community, getting a lot of hype. There's actually a lot of pros that have signed up for the tournament. So I think it's going to be really good. I'm going to cast as many matches as I can before the semis and finals this Saturday. And then Sunday will be the semis and finals. I'll be casting all the matches. So make sure you guys tune in. That'll start at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on each day. But yeah, anyways, like I said, I want to go through this whole timeline of all of this stuff, explain it all, explain that these guys are... TLO is blatantly fucking slandering me. Total Biscuit jumped on the slander train, literally just slandering me as well with no information, not even looking at what happened objectively. I don't understand why Team Liquid is allowing one of their pro players to basically slander someone and saying that they're scamming people when it's not true. I don't understand why the StarCraft 2 community is okay with stuff like that. And then, of course, cherry on top, after TLO being jealous and salty for all this shit, then he basically makes a mod that is basically just a plagiarized copy of my mod with the same changes that he just explicitly said in one of his posts. He thinks that they're all fucking terrible, but then he adds most of those changes to his fucking to his mod to try and compete or whatever with the mod I'm doing. This is not a fucking competition. Stop being jealous, stop being salty. If anything, he should sign up to my tournament and play in it. this is all ridiculous, guys. It's all ridiculous and petty. But, I mean, from the fact that he thinks that my changes are terrible, but then he implements all my changes and copies them to that shows you what type of a person he is. And it shows you that he's only in this for attention. Only in this to try and leech off of the attention that I am getting, you know, all the hype for this going into Saturday, Sunday, all the hype I've generated, all the discussion I've generated about changes, all of that is awesome, and that's a good thing for the StarCraft 2 community. And honestly, I don't have a problem, like, I honestly don't have a problem with other, like, I think other people should also do mods as well and create discussion and stuff about all the changes and whatnot, because that's good. If the community, that's also my third goal, I guess, besides the actual gameplay goals of mech viability and toning down air. My final goal of all of this stuff, all this tournament, you know, doing this on a mod, my final goal is to get the community to wake up that it's time to start discussing the gameplay of the game, and it's time to get Blizzard back on our side for making multiplayer balance changes and design changes, and that'll help StarCraft grow. If all of us are discussing the game more, talking about the game, and urging Blizzard to make changes to the game, that's good. That's good for everybody. Like I said, if more people want to make mods and test their own shit, we could get that feedback to Blizzard, and they could do something with it, and that's great. That helps. That's beneficial and positive for the community. I don't think what TLO is doing is positive at all. I think he basically just wants attention. He slandered me over the course of the last 20 days, essentially, and then he just basically, you know, like I said in that thread, he posts that my changes are terrible, doesn't look at them, doesn't test them, and then he just carbon copies them, making his own mod to be petty, and, you know, just he's petty and he's desperate for attention, apparently. So anyways, like I said, I'm not gonna let this shit affect the tournament, but I just wanted to get all this information out there and go through the timeline of all of this stuff, because so everybody knows, and so people understand what's going on. People can understand my goals for the tournament. People can understand that there's people out there that no matter what good you try and do for the community, there's people that are going to try and slander you, like viciously slander you and say that you're scamming money. There's other people that are going to hate on you for no reason, say these changes are bad without even testing them or whatever. But in the end, it doesn't matter, because I think what I'm doing is beneficial for the StarCraft 2 community as a whole. Even if you don't like me, I don't really care. I hope that you give my mod a chance. I hope you'll give watching the tournament a chance, and I hope this will bring about good, positive change for the StarCraft 2 community at large, in terms of urging Blizzard to make changes to the multiplayer like they are for Heroes of the Storm, like Riot is for League, like Dota is. Like, we need changes to StarCraft 2, the multiplayer, more than +1 Thor armor, don't touch the game for another 8 months. You know, Swarm hosts are ridiculous right now against mech. These are things that my mod will hopefully address, and hopefully we have some high-level games this Saturday and this Sunday. So there you go, guys. Had to make this video because it's quite mentally draining, honestly, keeping track, or, you know, just paying attention to all this shit. I guess this is why people like Day9 in the past and whatnot have said, just, you know, don't fucking read Reddit. Like, don't read Reddit, don't pay attention to these people, just do what you're doing and try and put out good content, put out, you know, positivity and stuff for the community. People are going to shit on whatever you do no matter what. That's how it is. But like I said, the tournament sign-up link, guys, is in the Team Liquid thread. So sign up for the tournament. Play the test map. All you have to do to play on the test extension mod, search Avi Balance mod on any of the servers. Create with mod, and then search for Avi Balance mod. And yeah, should be good. Even last thing here is we have quite a few signups, guys. These are all the signups so far. Supposedly this is Bjorn. We got Bly in there. There's a lot of pros that are signing up for this, which is, I think it's really nice that they're going to play in it. They want to win money, obviously, and I hope that they actually test the changes and adapt to them a little bit. My predictions for the winner of the tournament, I think that if a Terran wins, they'll probably win playing Bio. I honestly, I honestly don't think the people that win are going to be playing Mech, to be honest. And the goal of this mod isn't to make Mech overpowered or imbalanced like some people keep saying. The goal is to make Mech a viable option. The goal is to make Mech playable for people that want to play Mech. Everything, to be honest, most of the changes I made, if you go through the change list, most of the changes are not stat changes. Most of the changes are changes to accessibility of units or abilities. There's very few stat changes. There are some stat changes, but they're very few. Most of the changes are to the timings of when things are available or supply costs of units, which will impact the game a lot. You know, being able to get lurkers a lot quicker will potentially, we'll see a lot of lurkers use this tournament, or Vikings from the factory. I'm interested to see how people will use that. I honestly predict people might try and go overboard with building Vikings from factories and then die because they built Vikings from factories, which is actually not good because Vikings actually fucking suck, but people somehow they read the changes. The way people react to changes is they see, wow, Vikings are available from the factory. That's imbalanced. Wow, Vikings OP. And then they get in the game and they test it and they're like, wait a minute, I'm dead because I built only Vikings. And Vikings still suck. Avilo, you didn't change Vikings. It's like, no, the point was to make it an accessible anti-air option available later in the game. The point wasn't to give the Viking more attack damage or anything like that. So yeah, thank you guys for watching and listening. You know, I hope I exposed some people during this video that are being really scumbaggy in the community. It's not just one or two people. There's a lot of people that, if you read through these threads, are just being completely negative, as well as, like I said, slandering me unnecessarily. But yeah, I hope the tournament's going to be good. Thank you for watching, guys. I will see you guys later. Peace out.